Health and Social Services has confirmed that the Delta variant of the novel coronavirus is active in Namibia. The variant, I beg your pardon, was detected in 17 out of 18 samples taken from the Thomas region. It is known to have spread to at least 98 countries and is quickly becoming the dominant strain of COVID-19 in many parts of the world. To shed some light on this new and deadly variant, I'm joined on the line by Dr. Sirak Hailu, the WHO Medical Officer for Reproductive Health and member of the Laboratory Services for COVID-19 Response. A very good evening to you, Dr. Hailu, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, and good evening to your viewers.
Thank you so much. Firstly, Doctor, what are COVID-19 variants of concern, and what causes a new variant of a virus such as COVID-19 to develop?
Thank you. A variant is a virus strain whose genetic material has changed in the process of replicating itself while circulating within the population for a long time. So what happens is, in the process of copying itself, an error happens in its genetic material, which results in some structural changes on the virus, and that results in some functional changes, which may include an increased transmissibility of the virus among the population, or it may result in increased severity of the illness, or it may be less susceptible to some of the public health measures, including some of the vaccines or therapeutics for the virus. Mm-hmm. So that is a variant of a virus.
Well, talking about the variants, what are the major ones, the major COVID-19 variants of concern that have been recognized by the WHO so far?
So far, more than 10 important variants have been identified by WHO, but the most important ones are the 4 major ones. And initially, these variants were named after the places where they were initially identified, but subsequently WHO has come up with a naming system based on the Greek alphabet. And the 4 major variants include the Alpha variant, which was identified initially in the UK in December 2020. Mm-hmm. The next is the Beta variant, which was initially identified in South Africa, again in December 2020. The 2 other variants, the Gamma and the Delta variants, were identified this year. The Gamma variant was identified in Brazil in January 2021. And the recent one is the Delta variant, which was identified in India first, and it was determined as variant of concern by WHO just 3 months back in May 2021.
Now, the Delta variant, which is the latest, has caused a lot of concern. How exactly does it differ from the current variants?
The Delta variant was initially, as I've said, identified in India.
Yes.
And it is now the most important variant, and it is of particular interest globally because it has been determined that this variant is more transmissible among the population. And it is also more associated with more significant hospitalizations and illnesses as a result of its high affinity to the lung. And because of this, the Delta variant has particular interest. It has rapidly spread around the world. And as you have indicated in your introduction, Currently, more than 98 countries have reported this particular variant. And the projection is that this variant would be the dominant variant globally in the near future. And current evidence shows that it is the transmissibility is double of the previous variant, the alpha variant of the virus. And because of this, it is a serious issue now globally.
Doctor, some people are probably wondering, well, what impact do these new variants of COVID-19 have on the vaccines that were developed to fight the other variants? And perhaps also, are the currently available vaccines effective against this new Delta variant? Is there any evidence to that effect?
As you know, most vaccines, most of the currently existing vaccines target the spike proteins, which you see on the surface of the virus. And most of the mutations or variations are happening on the spike proteins. And actually, theoretically, changes on the spike proteins, on the surface proteins of the virus, may make the virus less susceptible to the vaccine, at least theoretically. Mm-hmm. But however, the good news is that our immune system recognizes other parts of the virus, the viral surface protein. So far, most of the vaccines are effective against all variants, including the Delta variant. Mm-hmm. So the current evidence shows that most vaccines have good protection against all variants, including the Delta, and they have especially very good protection against severe illness, hospitalization, and death. And also, the vaccines have to be completed. The dosage of the vaccine should be completed. You get more protection if people take the 2 doses of the vaccines.
So in other words,
yeah.
So in other words, if I have received the 2 doses of any vaccine, my chances of fending off the Delta variant are much more higher than that of those that have not been vaccinated.
Yeah, as you know, the vaccines do not 100% protect you from getting the infection, but they will protect you against developing severe illness that requires hospitalization, going into the ICU, or dying and having complications. So that is the benefit of most of these vaccines, and the evidences are strong in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Lastly, Doctor, I don't know if you watch movies, but the COVID-19 reminds me of a movie by Leonardo DiCaprio called Catch Me If You Can, where he plays this con artist, where the law enforcement agencies, whenever they thought that they had him in their hands, he was always able to escape. In other words, he was a step or 2 steps ahead of law enforcement agencies. What are we doing to ensure that COVID-19 is not doing that to us? Because it seems now that COVID is developing at such a fast rate that it is very much ahead of us. How do we fight that?
I think we have currently the tools to fight this disease, mm-hmm. And especially what we need to do is we have to abate the transmission of the virus in the population, the circulation of the virus, in order to prevent the development of new variants, which may cause the problem. And actually, the tools that we know, we have to implement them. The known basic public health interventions, the social distancing, the hand washing and sanitizing, proper masking, good ventilation when we are indoors, avoiding crowded places, especially in closed settings, and also gatherings. And the other very important tool going forward is the vaccination. All of us, we have to get the full 2 doses of the vaccine. And if we get vaccinated, if most people are vaccinated, we develop herd immunity. That reduces the circulation of the virus, and that reduces also the mutation and the emergence of new variants. So I think the issue is implementing the known interventions, getting the vaccinations, and also at the same time, the public health system has to monitor the epidemiology of the variants in the country through regular genomic sequencing, so that we know which variants are dominantly circulating in the population.
Right, Dr.
So
Hailu.
with available tools, we can make a big difference
Right,
in the situation.
All right, Dr. Hailu, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Highly appreciated. And we wish you and the team all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was Dr. Sirak Hailu, the WHO Medical Officer for Reproductive Health and the member of the Laboratory Services for COVID-19 Response, shedding a bit of light on the new COVID variant, which is being called the Delta variant of the novel coronavirus, which is currently active in Namibia.